What if, for the price of one Hollywood movie, you could challenge a 50-year-old monopoly? And I mean an untouchable global empire. What if, with a crazy amount of money and the perfect plan, you could build a company that would literally shatter the entire market? Well, this isn't a crazy theory. This actually happened. This is the insane story of how one man, using his billionaire dad's money and a superfan's brain, launched an all-out war on the biggest wrestling company in the world, WWE. For decades, WWE was the only wrestling you could watch. They were an unstoppable machine. But in 2019, a challenger appeared. This is literally a step-by-step guide on how we're going to build a monopoly killer. We are going to break down every single move that turned a massive gamble into a real threat and forced a giant to finally fight back. First, you need to understand just how massive this giant was. For over 20 years, WWE had a complete monopoly on American wrestling. It was a content factory, making thousands of hours of TV, selling out arenas, and selling a crazy amount of merch. They didn't just lead the market, they were the market. This meant there were no other options for fans who wanted something new, and even worse, no other options for the wrestlers. There was only one way to do things, one type of contract, and only one path to success. The wrestling world was a kingdom with only one king. Anyone who tried to start a rival company was seen as a complete fool who would lose all their money. And every single person who tried failed, leaving behind a graveyard of dead companies. Everybody knew, you can't beat WWE. But here's the craziest part. Their biggest strength was also their biggest weakness. They became lazy, predictable, and left a huge hole in the market for something new, something fresh, something elite? And that's when this guy, Tony Khan, shows up. His dad is literally a billionaire, Shahid Khan, but Tony wasn't just some rich kid with a new toy. He was a super fan who knew everything about wrestling. He saw the opening WWE left. He saw millions of fans being ignored by WWE's clean, polished style, and he saw hundreds of amazing wrestlers with no big stage to show how good they were. So in 2019, he did something nobody thought was possible. This wasn't just some random idea. It was a surgical attack, backed by an insane initial investment of $100 million from his family. He launched a new company, All Elite Wrestling, or AEW. And his goal wasn't just to start a wrestling company. It was to compete with the biggest company from day one. He had a 4-step plan to do it, and it's absolute genius. Step 1. And this is the most important step. If you want to fight a TV giant, you have to be on TV. It's that simple. Tony knew a YouTube channel would never work. To be a real threat, he needed to be in prime time, right next to the champion. This led to the single biggest deal in AEW's history, a massive media rights deal with Warner Media. Just a few months after their very first show, they signed a contract extension in January 2020 for a reported $175 million to keep their live weekly show, AEW Dynamite, on TV through 2023. I cannot tell you how big of a deal this was. It wasn't just about the money, which was obviously insane. It was about being legit. It put AEW in millions of homes, right next to WWE's own shows. It gave them a giant stage to build their brand and their stars. It was a signal to everyone, fans, wrestlers, the entire world, that they were a major league player. Without this deal, the entire company would have died instantly. Okay, so they have a TV deal. What's next? Step 2. You need stars. A wrestling company with no famous wrestlers is literally nothing, but Tony knew he couldn't just sign people. He had to start a revolution. He targeted a group of world-famous wrestlers. The main guys were Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, who were huge stars outside of WWE, and Cody Rhodes, a guy who left WWE to prove he was a big deal. Tony didn't just throw money at them, he gave them power. He made them executive vice presidents, giving them actual control over the company and its stories. This was the game changer. AEW's offer was simple, but insane. creative freedom. WWE was known for controlling every single word and idea, but AEW promised wrestlers they could help create their own characters and storylines. This was huge. It attracted tons of unhappy WWE stars and amazing independent wrestlers who just wanted to be treated with respect. He wasn't just hiring wrestlers, he was building an army of partners who were excited to build something new because they finally had freedom. Step 3 is easy. Be different or die. If AEW was just a bad copy of WWE, it would have been destroyed. The third part of Tony's plan was to give fans something they couldn't get from WWE. While WWE was focused on celebrities and giant spectacles, AEW gave the hardcore fans exactly what they wanted, a show that felt more like a real sport, with longer, more athletic matches. The stories felt real and unscripted, which made every show completely unpredictable. You literally never knew what would happen next. This was about more than just the TV show. AEW made their live events super focused on the fans. This created an insane, loud crowd, and you could feel that energy through the TV, which made the shows feel like massive parties. They weren't just selling wrestling, they were selling a completely new experience. And the fans loved it. And the final step? You need to be willing to lose crazy amounts of money before you make any. This isn't something that makes money overnight. It's a war. The first $100 million was just to get started. They needed even more money for everything, from signing wrestlers to spending over $10 million just on a video game. For the first few years, AEW was losing money. Tony Khan was open about this, saying the goal was never to be profitable in year one. The goal was just to stay alive and get bigger. The 5-year plan was to become a real competitor and then worry about making money. And now, that gamble is actually working. In October 2024, AEW announced a new TV deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. And while they didn't share the official number, reports say the deal is worth around $185 million per year. This new deal keeps their shows on TV, and starting in 2025, puts all their content on the Max streaming service. With this insane amount of money, experts think AEW is finally about to become very profitable. It proves that spending a ridiculous amount of money at the start can actually work. Now, you can't just punch a giant in the face and expect it to do nothing. WWE woke up and the war for wrestling began, and WWE started fighting back hard. They started putting their biggest stars like John Cena and Cody Rhodes on their smaller show NXT at the exact same time as AEW's show, just to steal their viewers. It was a direct attack. Even one of AEW's biggest stars admitted it was a genius business move. They also started a war for new wrestlers, trying to sign all the best young talent before AEW could find them. But this is the craziest part of all. WWE started copy AEW. Under their new creative leader, Paul Triple H Levesque, WWE started focusing more on the actual wrestling and even gave their wrestlers more creative freedom. The exact thing that made AEW popular in the first place. When the giant you're fighting starts to act more like you, that's when you know you've already won. The challenger didn't just steal their fans, it forced the entire company to change. So, the story of AEW is so much bigger than wrestling. It is literally a masterclass on how to destroy a monopoly. Tony Khan's first investment and that insane $175 million TV deal were the ultimate weapons. He proved that if you have enough money, you can buy your way into any industry. He proved that if you find the fans the big guy is ignoring, you can build an incredibly loyal fan base. And he proved that if you treat your people better, you create an advantage that no amount of money can ever beat. AEW didn't break the monopoly by being a better WWE. They won by being AEW. It changed everything, creating more jobs for wrestlers and a real choice for fans. The war is not over. Not even close, but the monopoly is officially broken. All because of one guy with a vision and a crazy plan. This whole thing proves that no company, no matter how big, is safe. Which makes you wonder, which giant company is next? What untouchable monopoly is just one person and one giant check away from being completely destroyed? If you want to see more insane business stories like this, subscribe right now so you don't miss the next video. And I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments what industry you think is ready for a new challenger. Thanks for watching.